Calgary Flames recently made the popular decision of making Andrei Kuzmenko a healthy scratch after he's gotten off to an extremely slow start to this season. While this decision is sparking even more trade rumors, it's starting to hurt both the player and the team. Both parties need Kuzmenko back in the lineup and to start producing in order for the team to get the trade return they're looking for and for Kuzmenko to get another lucrative NHL contract. So is a trade imminent? We're going to break it all down in this video, but first I want to welcome you to Flames Digest. I'm Mark Griffith. If you're new around here and you love the Flames, make sure you subscribe so you can stay up to date on all the latest news, updates, reports, and rumors revolving around your Calgary Flames. We would love to welcome you to the Flames Digest family. And let's get into this one. Talk about these Kuzmenko trade talks. This is going to come as a surprise to absolutely no one that things are heating up. We know Craig Conroy is a fan of trading away the upcoming UFAs, and Kuzmenko, we know it hasn't necessarily gone to plan. And, you know, trade talks, they really are escalating more and more, especially since this healthy scratch occurred. And we have a great article here from Steve McFarland that will break down some of this as well. So what happens next with Flames and struggling winger? Andrei Kuzmenko quandary needs resolution ahead of the NHL trade deadline. So it's not like the Flames can just sit Kuzmenko forever because his value isn't getting any higher as he sits out. It would be great if he can get to producing, and then one of two good things can happen. Either he plays really well, his value goes up high, and the Flames trade him away for a package they really want, or he plays well, helps the Flames do well, and then gets a contract and re-signs with the Flames to hopefully be even better in the future. And of course, that's the optimistic way of looking at it. But let's get into the article. So keeping Andrei Kuzmenko in the press box isn't beneficial to the player or the Flames. The talented but struggling winger is an expiring commodity. And that's a great way to put it. He is a commodity, still a trade commodity or a potential, actual roster player for the future, but it's starting to expire a little bit. He is an expiring commodity. The Flames are in an interesting position, having essentially received Kuzmenko, who scored 39 goals as an NHL rookie just a couple of years ago, as a throw-in asset and salary dump in the Lindholm deal with the Canucks last season. And it looked like an absolute, huge win for Craig Conroy. I mean, it still is. Lindholm is now in Boston. Vancouver got essentially nothing out of him, and we still got Brustevich and a pick and whatnot. But I don't know, the Kuzmenko part is looking less and less like a W as time continues. So whatever they get from the 28-year-old winger, either in the lineup or on the market, is gravy. Ideally, though, they'd be double dipping. We would love to get even more than what we originally got when we got him, when we received him. It would be great if we could get even more giving him away. Kuzmenko scored 14 goals and 25 points in 29 games with the Calgary Flames last season after joining the team in the trade. They could use that confident, productive version of the player to boost his value for this year's trade deadline while accumulating some wins along the way. And of course, that is best case scenario, but is that what is going on right now? No. If we take a look at his stats so far this season, in 25 games, he has 1 goal. Is this James Neal reincarnated? What is that? 8 assists for 9 points, which is just not good enough. 1 goal on the 30 shots is terrible as well. Double the giveaways is takeaways, essentially a -4 in about 15 and a half minutes of ice time per night. And we know, he'll be 29 soon enough. He doesn't really hit that much. He doesn't block that much. So it's tough to really say that, he is upping his value at all this season, and it makes sense that he did get scratched, but those numbers right now are not tradable, at least not for something that the Flames could get a very good return. Here's what Huska had to say about scratching Kuzmenko. Sometimes a player just needs to take a step back and catch his breath a little bit. Flames head coach Ryan Huska said about the decision to bench Kuzmenko. I think Andrei's in that category right now, and I mean, that almost goes without saying. It's tough to imagine the team sitting him out until there's a deal made because his value is low at the moment. It is essentially rock bottom. Kuzmenko may rotate in some more opportunities, but it does seem like there's a countdown with the clock ticks getting louder. There's no doubt the Flames will be able to move Kuzmenko out, and teams will be willing to take a shot at the guy who scored 1 shy of 40 with the Canucks. It's one of those classic, of course he'll be traded no matter what. Once you're on the TSN trade bait board around the trade deadline, you're most likely to get traded. And look, Kuzmenko's only played a few years in the NHL here, and they know he's capable of scoring at least 40 kind of thing. So it would be tradable. It'd just be nice if his value could go up for the team and, of course, for himself. He wants to get another NHL contract and a super high one at that, like the current one he is on. What they're willing to pay, however, will depend on what happens next with Kuzmenko and the Flames. At least they both want the same thing: more production. And that is really what it boils down to. He needs to get back in the lineup, and he really needs to start producing in order for both parties to get what they want. So if we go into what's next for Kuzy, I mean, we kind of broke it down a little bit, but I just wanted to show you guys a little bit of another article here, and it comes from Old Prof. What a name that is. So NHL Trade Talk prediction. Clock ticking on Kuzmenko's NHL career. So this almost takes it a step further, saying, look, if Kuzmenko doesn't do well, we could have, almost like another Radulov situation where he's really good for a year or two in the NHL, just can't get it done, then goes back to Russia, could go back to the KHL, and then maybe make an NHL return, at a later date. I'm not too sure. Kuzmenko might be a bit older by then. But Andrei Kuzmenko is struggling with the Flames. Why could Kuzmenko head back to Russia after his season ends? And this is a long article. I'm not going to show you guys the whole thing. I'll just show you one snippet. It's worth reading if you want to go take a look. But here's what's next for Kuzmenko. As the Flames season unfolds, Kuzmenko's future remains uncertain. If his struggles continue, the Flames are unlikely to re-sign him. Yes, of course. If the Flames don't make the playoffs, watch for him to be moved at the trade deadline. Yes, that would also be ideal. However, even then, his trade value might plummet. Returning to the KHL would allow Kuzmenko to reset his career and regain his confidence in a familiar setting where he thrived. While his time in the NHL has been a mixed bag, Kuzmenko's skills and accomplishments in the KHL ensure he will be welcomed back as a marquee player. For the once promising rookie star of the Vancouver Canucks, a move back to Russia might be the best path forward. Would that be the best path for the Calgary Flames? No, of course not. We want him to start producing. We want to trade him at this year's trade deadline, and if not, then fine, maybe he can go back to Russia or sign for another team. I doubt the Flames will be willing to dish out a contract that Kuzmenko will most likely ask for. It won't be as high as the current one he's on, unless he really goes on a tear to end this season like he ended last season. But still, I just don't see that being the case. So don't be too surprised that if Kuzmenko doesn't really get back into the lineup much, or if he does and doesn't produce, we could be seeing the end of Kuzmenko in the NHL, which would be crazy down below. But let me know down below what you think will happen with Kuzmenko. Is he going to turn it on finally for the Flames this season? Maybe he'll double his goals in the next game and get to 2. We'll just have to wait and see. But let's wrap this one up with a comment of the day, as we love to do here on the channel. It comes from yesterday's video, of course, about that controversial and inconsistent call of a goal for St. Louis, even though Vladar's pad looked like it got pushed in a little bit. But this comment was good here from Oscam Outdoors, and he said, put it this way, if this was a Stanley Cup Final Game 7 double OT game, I can promise you it wouldn't have counted. This is the problem with the NHL. Inconsistency is killing this sport. And that honestly is the fact of the matter. That call would be called differently in almost every NHL game by different NHL refs, would have a different interpretation of it. Maybe there'd be different people cycling through the situation room. I'm not too sure. Either way, that one, of course, went against the Flames, which stings a little bit, but hopefully the Flames can get into situations where these controversial and inconsistent calls no longer matter. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe like we saw here today, and have a wonderful rest of your day.